Hello once again, I'm Orange195 and this is a follow-up video for Anistuffs video he will have released probably about a day ago now, about his potion of poison resistance, which is actually a bunch of command blocks that activate to simulate a potion of poison resistance. So just in case you haven't watched that video, or you don't want to click the link that I'm probably going to put on top of this or annotate, whatever, I'm going to show you quickly what it does. So if I put myself in game mode 0, survival, and I just break that, give myself a sword, and then I press this, spawn some spiders. Now they're going to attack me and poison me. If I drink this, it says potion of poison resistance applied, and then they don't do much damage to me because they obviously haven't got any poison anymore. It removes their poison. Now, of course, if it had some armor, I would have basically taken very little damage. So yeah, that's what it does. Works very well. Sometimes you take half a heart of damage when they hit you with the poison, but generally you don't take a lot of damage. It definitely negates most of the damage. So let's go on to the actual redstone. What I'm going to be showing is how to make this work in multiplayer, whereas Anistuff's video only showed how to do it in single player. The first important thing is that you make sure that you place this contraption inside spawn chunks. So if I go above ground, I spawned somewhere around here, around this square right here, and as long as you put it somewhere underneath the square within, like, I think it's about 30 blocks in any direction, maybe 15 blocks in any direction, it will stay loaded and it won't break when the chunks become unloaded, because spawn chunks never unload, if you don't know that. Some people will. Probably most map makers will probably know that, which is very useful for stuff like this. So I can go off 1,000 blocks off into the distance and it will still apply all these effects to me. So let's get on with the actual command blocks. Now you can see all the signs here. I'm just going to stand there for a second so you can read them. Pause if you want to read those. So first of all, we have a hopper clock, which is just a two hoppers with items going in it. Comparator facing out of it makes it give out a signal. Goes into this repeater, which sets off this command block. Now what this command block does is it chooses a random player on the map, and then it sets them to have a score of player test 1. And what this is for is, what's the best way to describe this? Basically, you have to isolate a single player, otherwise it can glitch and choose the wrong player when it's doing stuff later on. So what this does is it essentially picks a random player out of all the players on the map, and then it does all the command block actions on them in one go. And it'll only ever do it on that one person, and then it'll pick a new person. Sometimes it'll pick the same person, but usually it'll pick a different person. And if you have it triggering fast enough, even if there are like 10 people on the server, it's still gonna apply the poison resistance pretty fast. So that's an important thing to bear in mind. You can slow down this clock if you want, but it's better to have it faster. So yeah, so we've got the thing that sets them to player test, a random player on player test, and then this repeater goes into this, which clears clears water breathing from the nearest player with player test minimum of 1. So it'll only choose someone who has just been tested for. Anyone else it'll ignore, and if it succeeds, if it manages to clear the water breathing, so let's give myself a potion. So if I get myself a potion, oh, I should probably explain just quickly, these aren't actually poison resistant, they're actually a water bottle. That's what it should look like normally, but then if you make it a water bottle, it removes the potion effect symbol. You can find a tutorial on how to do that. I'm not going to explain it right now. I was about to say, yeah. So if it's successful, so let's say I drink this and it's successful, it gives off a signal. So I'm just going to quickly enable this so you can see my poison resistance score. So you can see it's counting down, and then once that is activated, it tells the player that poison resistance has been applied, and it tells that same player, it gives that same player a score of PR, poison resistance, 120, and that only activates once, and it only ever activates on the player that's got this test score. And that all happens in between the time between, that sounds confusing, but yeah, in between the time when this command block is activated, this one here, this one, and when this one is activated, because there's a, what's that, 2 ticks? 2 tick delay in between that, and that all happens within those 2 ticks. And then when this command block activates, it clears the player test score off the player that had player test on it. So it sets their player test score from 1 to 0. So that's how it sort of cycles through the players and picks different players and tests for them. And all the while all that's happening, it will be clearing poison from anyone with a PR score of minimum 1. Yeah, anyone with a PR score of minimum 1. So, like 5 people could drink this potion and it would still clear it from all of them just as fast. It doesn't slow down. If it was at P, it would slow down quite a lot, and it would probably break actually. And then this one just removes the PR score from, as you can see, my score is counting down, so it just removes the PR score from everyone with their PR score above 1. And the reason why it's set to minimum 1 rather than minimum 0 is so that it doesn't set your score to a negative value, because if it was 0 it would go to -1. And this one tells a player with a PR score of minimum 1, maximum 1, that poison resistance has worn off. And the reason why we set this to PR minimum 1, maximum 1 is so that it only checks for players whose poison resistance is just about to wear off. If you set it to 0, it would activate all the time when people didn't have the poison resistance. So that's all that. And then finally, because this is multiplayer, we have to have this command block running all the time, but we have this thing which says it sets, what does it do? Okay, it sets the score for anyone with a health 0 and the PR minimum of 2 to PR 1, which basically means that if someone dies, they lose their potion effect. And that's really important because otherwise it wouldn't act like a real potion. You could die and you'd still have the potion effect. And also, because there is a glitch with, well, I consider it a glitch with the health scoreboard, where the health displays as 0, the score is set to 0, even when you have full health. The reason why it does that glitch is because the scoreboard starts off at 0 and doesn't update until you take damage. So what we do is we have this command block here which tests for anyone with health 0 and then gives them wither for 1 second. And the reason why we do that is, well, you know, I just told you the reason, but the reason why, yeah, if you're dead, the wither's not going to bother you. You're going to be dead, so the wither doesn't matter. So it's only gonna, all it's going to do is fix the broken health on people who have just logged into the server. That's why we do that. And I think that might be it. You've explained all the command blocks. Now, currently I have my score of PT 120 as 1 minute 30, and if you want to set this to any length, any different duration that you want, what you'd have to do is divide 120 by 90, which is 90 seconds, and that will give you the amount, that'll give you a number, and then you can multiply that by the amount of seconds that you want. So let's say you wanted 5 minutes, you do 120 divided by 90 times by, did I say 5 minutes? Times by 300, I think. That would work. That should be alright, yeah. And what we have here is the version that Anistuffs made. So I'm just going to disable this, and then I'll pop this in here. So, did it go? No. The difference with Anistuffs one is basically just it has this clock here, which does the same, telling you your poison resistance is 1 off and removing your poison resistance like 1 every second. And this one actually removes it every second, which makes it really easy to configure the time. So this one, even though it's less compact and has 2 clocks rather than 1, it's perhaps better to use this one. I mean, the only problem with this one is this thing might get jammed, but we had a fix for that. I think it was just comparator there, repeater. That should be it. Yeah. So what this does is this prevents the repeater from jamming up, which it sometimes does. Anyway, yeah, this one is the commands in it are identical. The only real difference is that it's got this 1 second clock, which is really useful for making it easy to configure. See, he has a 1 minute duration, and all he's done is where is it? Set PR to 60 seconds. So his one's really simple. So yeah, you can use whichever one you want if you want to use it. And the great thing about this is you can use it for any sort of potion effect you want. You could, for example, have, as Anistuff has said, you could have a wither resistance, where it just clears wither from you. You could even do things like a partial fire resistance. So you could have a thing where, rather than giving you total resistance to fire, you could have it give you like 1 second of fire resistance every couple of seconds when you've got the fire, the like resist, yeah, the potion score. So for example, well, yeah, but yeah, that would work. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I've explained everything. Hopefully you get how it works. Yeah, I've shown you all the command blocks. So if you need to go over one of the command blocks, all you have to do is find the bit in the video and then pause it. Okay. Goodbye then. Hopefully you'll see you in another video.